Hello. We thought we'd do a very quick reaction piece to last night's 35-30 defeat to the Cleveland Browns. And joining me is my podcast partner, regular partner in crime, is Nathan Palmer. Nathan, hello.
How you doing, my son? Nice to see you.
Likewise. Not quite how we wanted it to go last night, right?
No, it's another one of those prime-time games, isn't it? It doesn't seem to sit well with the Bengals. Another loss by less than 7 points in like a one-score game. And, they're starting to pile up now, aren't they, really? I think a bit of frustration is starting to build with the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just, again, there was lots to like in that game last night. The opening drive was terrific. They stopped Cleveland in the second half, deep into their one almost like a goal line stand. 4 downs. They managed to stop them, and yet, we were always playing catch up. And Joe Burrow threw for over 60 attempts. That can't be a good thing.
60 attempts in a baseball game, you'd be thinking of taking the picture out, let alone in a bloody NFL game. But yeah, I mean, for me, on the subject of Joe Burrow, that's the one thing that I thought was a huge positive. I think I thought he was better than he was in week one. You never want your quarterbacks to be throwing 60 times a game, like we said, but I thought he showed great poise. I thought he led the team down the field well. He some clutch plays as well. I think he was 4 for 4 on 4th down, which is incredible. His first 300-yard game, his first touchdown. I just thought he looked confident and poised on the field, and I think that for Bengals fans going forward, which is what I think most people are looking at, not at the moment. We've got a winner here. We've got a great quarterback. So I think, for that respect, that was the real positive to take away from it for me.
What worried you last night? Because there are a few things that worried me. Firstly, Burrow was again hit far too many times.
Oh, mate. He's going to be sore this morning, the geezer, isn't
he? And I'm a bit worried about wide receivers. The fact that they're not really getting that much separation down the field. Certainly fine for underneath stuff, but defenses can plan for that really, really easily and just kind of dare Burrow to go long. Lots of talk about AJ Green not looking like the AJ Green of old this morning. The offensive line obviously had problems again. Fred Johnson started at right guard, but he didn't have a brilliant night, although he did spring a lovely block for the Gio touchdown that wasn't in the fourth quarter. And of course, the defense, I'm just going to scroll over to the stats now. Nick Chubb, 22 carries for 124 yards. Kareem Hunt, 10 carries for 86 yards. Between them, they scored 3 touchdowns. And just when you wanted the Bengals defense to clamp down and really kind of give them a chance to win in that fourth quarter, I think they handed it off about 4 times and they went 60 yards. And Baker Mayfield didn't have to make a throw. So for all the defensive signings and all the rest of it, we weren't able to stop the run. But then again, I guess you can mitigate the fact that, it was just pretty much DJ Reader out there on the line. And, who else? Gino was out, obviously. Mike Daniels was out. But still, there was a lot of guys that we signed that were playing and that we weren't able to stop the run at all.
Yeah, we said this on the last podcast on episode 99. We said that last year in Seattle, the defense gave us this hope and they looked really lively and healthy and it was exciting. And I think we said last week, we were like, let's hope that's, what we saw in week one this season is for real and it doesn't regress. And unfortunately, it looked bad last night. It looked like last season. It's just you can't give up 35 points. Joe Burrow's gone out there, the geezer, and put up 30 on the road. You get offered that 30 points on the road, you take it, you should win the game. We can't give up 35 points like that. And I think there was no sacks. I think there was only 1 tackle for a loss. Obviously, there was the 1 interception and that goal line stand. But Cleveland punted once on the day, and you just can't. You're not going to win games playing football like that. I mean,
it was quite an exciting game, I guess, in many ways. There lots of points scored and touchdowns. But from a Bengals point of view, you're right. I mean, in some way, it was a weird thing. Maybe this is a team wrestling to to kind of really forge an identity for themselves. Couldn't really run the ball. We were playing catch up for a lot of that second half, so which is why Burrow had to throw it so much, I guess. But yeah, a bit disappointing. Again, another, like you mentioned, just could not get any pressure on Baker Mayfield whatsoever. And he had a good game, but then again, any quarterback with that amount of pressure on him is going to have a good game, I think. So.
Yeah, I think for me, what's starting to become frustrating is these losses by one score or less. And I think last year there was like seven or eight of our losses were by one score or less. So you think it's literally one play, at the end of that game or some point in the game, it turns it, you score, and it's a different ball game. You win the game, and I think we're competitive. We're not getting blown out. Like I said, Joe Burrow had a fantastic game last night. He really, really looked good, but we've just got to find ways to win. Like, I don't care if we have to start cheating. Like, I just think we need to start winning games because there comes that belief. Like, I'm sat there last night watching it, and we're sort of behind by 7 or 8, and then we're down by about 12, and I don't think we're going to win. Like, I'm just watching this, like, we're going to get close. We're going to have a bit of a run. We're going to make a few plays, but at the moment, I just don't have the confidence we're going to win games. And there's a lot of geezers that's been on that team for 2 years or more, and we haven't been good for a long time. And I just think we desperately need a win, an actual win that is meaningful to get people to lift some spirits in that locker room. Because at the moment, I know it's a clean slate, it's a new season, it's a new era with Joe Burrow, but I think for Zach Taylor more than anyone else and that coaching staff, they need a win to get a bit of belief under them, because there's only so long with so many defeats you can keep trying to motivate people and keep saying the same things. And I think, not to jump the gun after 2 games, but I think we've got to win a game pretty soon is what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, I think we're going to start, I think some heads are going to start dropping.
Well, we'll see. I mean, there were some good points last night. Obviously, you mentioned Burrow. Drew Sample had a good game, I think, and that was good to see. One outstanding one-handed catch. T. Higgins was kind of evolved more. John Ross, not at all. That was kind of quite interesting to see. What else can I think? Brandon Wilson looked good on his kickoff return. Really good. Randy Bullock didn't miss any field goals, which was a bonus. But yeah, I'm a bit. There are glaring problems there on the team, whereas in other ways they've improved. So I think it is a work in progress, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And the fundamental thing that's not going anywhere, I mean, touch wood, but the fundamental thing that is there is Joe Burrow. And I thought through 2 games, he's been fantastic. He's about as good as you could expect from a rookie with no preseason. And to be honest with you, his receivers haven't helped him out. Like you touched on AJ Green last night. He definitely looks like he's rusty. I have no doubt AJ Green will be okay. I think he just needs a bit of match practice. He just needs to, get on the field, get some more reps under his belt. He's not played in a long time. He didn't have a preseason. He's not been on the field properly for nearly 2 years, whatever it is. So I think when Burrow starts getting helped out, by Green, there's a couple of plays last night that Green, if he comes down with them and more than catchable passes, that game again maybe it looks a little bit different. So. As you mentioned, John Ross, he's got to step up. We talk about him stretching the field and stuff like that. Like we need someone, because our receiving core, it's not the quickest group in the world, and you rely on John Ross for that speed and to go straight down the field and beat someone. And that's the one thing that Burrow's missed on so far, is he hasn't been able to connect on any of those deep passes. So. Yeah, I'm encouraged by long term. Burrow's unbelievable, but he needs the right game plans, and he needs some other people around him to step up with more experience. Like that running game last night, where was that?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Anyway, I put it out there this morning just for some hot takes, and as you can imagine, we've got lots. Michael Fisher at Cosmic Sausage 77.
Solid handle.
Hot takes. It doesn't matter what we are, podcast or video, there are still solid handles. Hot takes on Bengals: Joe Burrow, Hall of Fame. O&D lines crippled with key injuries, so had to judge performance. AJ, great having him back, but missed a few key matches. Ross Send out the search party, completely anonymous. Duncan Yeadon at Slam Dunk the Funk.
Solid handle.
Yet again, so near, yet so far. Still positive that week 3 will see us healthier and perform better. I'm still positive, but I fear what happens if we lose the next 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Andy Bennett at Bennett Carew. 1, Joe will be pasted by the end of the season unless things change in the O-line. Number 2, it felt like the play calls were on repeat. Number 3, did Lou think the D was sorted after keeping the Chargers quiet? If so, grimace emoji. The Bookerman at the Bookerman.
Solid handle.
Not even a hot take, but I am terrified at how Pittsburgh are going to come after Joe, given our O-line and how they destroyed the Giants' O-line week 1. Phil Hatton at Bengal Blue Boy. 1, we bought in 4 plays to shore up the run. Reader, Alexander, Bell, Bynes. Why has it not worked? Number 2, where is Carlos? Number 3, Burrow is the real deal. Let's see if we can squeeze some more on. Duncan at Dastardly Duncan.
Solid handle.
Burrow looks the only real upgrade on last year's team. Discuss. Beth Harcourt at B Harcourt. We need to get the run game going. Burrow is going to get killed with this line, trying to protect for 40 dropbacks, let alone 60. Ugh. Defense is still bad, but the goal line stand was at least something a little positive. Jarno Savolainen at Jarno Sawo.
Solid handle.
Our Finnish friend Jarno. Defense really needs Atkins Daniels in the middle with Reader. So poor tackling last night. That's a really good point. There were some poor tackling, notably by Jesse Bates, who had a terrific game in week 1. Burrow has the it factor. We'll need to connect on those chunk plays. Green is still a bit rusty. Hope Uzama will be fine. And right guard, right tackle will need to be fixed somehow. And just fine. Well, we've got a few more. Killian at Malloy, 00. Defense was completely shredded, but the game was lost at the line of scrimmage. You can't let your QB get hit that much, and you can't let the other teams run for 200 yards, no matter how good your QB is. If you can't address those issues, you won't win football games. And finally, Connor Luttrell at CJ Luttrell. Didn't learn much new. The right side of the OL is poor. Burrow is a baller. DL struggle without Atkins and Daniels. And Brandon Wilson should be a nailed-on Pro Bowler. I just want to find Simon Hunter's tweets, actually, because what did you think of all that while I'm finding Simon's tweet?
Yeah, there's some good points there. I think people, obviously, a lot of changes on that defensive front in the off season, a lot of free agents, new rookies and stuff. And I think it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? Because week 1 looks so positive, and then you sort of think back to week 1 and you're like, well, it was Tyrod Taylor, and the Chargers, you're probably not going to pull up any trees this year. And you think of the teams we've got to play as well. You think we've got to play the Ravens twice with Lamar Jackson. You're going to have to play the Steelers twice, who look pretty good in week 1. So, there's some tough games down there with some good offenses. If we can't stop the run and we're setting ourselves up for these play actions, whatever, it's going to be a bit concerning. So I think, everyone's bang on. I think everyone realises Burrow is our guy. But I think there are, that offensive line, we haven't really talked about that in too much detail, but that, we've talked it. What more can you say?
Yeah.
We all know it's an issue. It's been an issue for 2 years, and they sort of fix it a bit every year, but I just don't think it's been given enough attention. I really, really don't, and I think it's quite clear.
A few more comments. Stuart Davis at Dutch Bath.
Handle.
What week will Burrow last until that? What week will Burrow last until with that O line? He's just going to get snapped properly at one point. I'm going week 7. Hope he has life insurance.
It's like a knockout in boxing, isn't it? Which game is Burrow going to be taken out on?
Rob Hill at 3003. Rob, we need to be honest. Last year we weren't a good team. We've added some quality, but we still have major issues with the line, separation and stopping the run. We won't win many games this season, but we are improving. More early round picks next season will help again. Burrow is good, and TJ Hushmanzada's shiny shoes at TJ's shiny shoes. O-line and defense bad, Burrow good, Sample and Higgins becoming a bigger part of the offense while Ross looks on his way out. Can't find Simon's tweet, sorry, but he kind of just basically said, judge this as work in progress. We're not going to go to the Super Bowl this year, which is quite obviously true. There's lots of things to pick up on, lots of things to fix. I like us in Philadelphia in a week and a half's time. I do, weirdly. But there we go. Anyway, we could rattle on all day. It's a disappointing first primetime game of the season, first Battle of the Ohio season of the season. It's not quite the outcome that we wanted, although, again, there were some good moments in it, plenty of good moments, in fact. We'll see how we go. Nathan and I will be back on Monday night with a 100th episode of Cincinnati. I can't wait for you guys to see and hear who we've got on. We've got two spectacular guests on. Really fantastic, aren't they?
Yes, indeed. I think the listeners are going to very much enjoy it.
Well, I hope so. Thanks everyone for tuning into our online tailgate last night. Thanks for tuning in for this. Keep your heads up, everyone. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. Yes, we'll be back on Monday. So speak to you then.